Yeah, we can just for this. Là, en orange, là. Là.
What happens when the mountain doesn't let you come down? In 2023, British climber Fay Manners set out to summit Shivling, one of the Himalayas' most sacred and dangerous peaks. She made it to the top, but on the way down, everything unraveled. A jammed rope, a vanishing ledge. Then came the wind, the cold, the darkness, and for 2 nights, nothing but silence. She was stranded 19,000 feet in the sky, standing alone on a ledge the size of a boot, with no food, no shelter, and no guarantee of rescue. This is the story of how a world-class climber came within inches of death on a frozen cliff, and what it really costs to survive the Himalayas. Because the hardest part of climbing a mountain is coming back down. Fay and Victor Saunders weren't thrill seekers. They summited successfully, but the descent, that's where most deaths happen. And the descent on Shivling was a descent into hell. Weather shifted with merciless speed. Clouds suffocated the sun. Ice formed across their gear. Visibility dropped to 0. Every anchor, every rope placement, every footstep had to be perfect or fatal. Then came the mistake. As night approached, they rappelled down separate rope lines. Fay's rope, her literal lifeline, caught in a snag, twisted, tangled. She was stuck, unable to climb up, no way to rappel down. She was frozen in place, 19,000 feet above sea level, with less than a meter of standing space. The sun dipped behind the peaks. Darkness swallowed her whole. There was no shelter, no sleeping bag, no food, no rescue. She stood for 12 hours straight, balancing on a ledge thinner than her boot, holding onto a fixed rope, too afraid to clip out. If she fell asleep, she would fall. If she moved too much, she would fall. Her gloves were soaked. Her hands began to stiffen. When she looked at them, they didn't look human anymore, just lumps of meat slowly freezing. Every hour brought a new test: frostbite, altitude sickness, terror. Her mind began to spiral, hallucinations creeping into the edges of her thoughts, the feeling that time had stopped, that no one was coming. And Victor, he was alive somewhere above, but unable to reach her. If he tried, they'd both risk a fall. So they waited, in separate prisons, inches from death, yet hours apart. This wasn't survival anymore, it was endurance, a brutal, lonely endurance against the elements and herself. By the second night, Fay was losing sensation in her feet. Her toes had turned to stone. Her legs burned from holding one position for so long. Sleep deprived, dehydrated, oxygen starved. Her thoughts turned to her family, her partner, her life outside this frozen tomb. Would this be the last anyone ever heard of her? At one point, she began composing a message in her head, her final words, in case her body was found. Her phone, miraculously, had just enough battery. They used the satellite device to signal for help. But in the Himalayas, help is never near. India's air rescue teams were grounded, weather too dangerous. Helicopters couldn't fly that high at night. And so the second night came. And still, she stood. 40 hours. 40 hours without sleep, food, or warmth, on a ledge carved by ice, surrounded by a silence so complete it felt like death itself. Morning broke, cold, white, and cruel, but in the distance a faint roar echoed off the peaks. A helicopter, then another. The Indian Air Force had launched one of the most dangerous high-altitude rescues in Himalayan history. They found Victor first, and then, with near impossible precision, they hovered above Fay, whose body was beginning to shut down. In a move few pilots have ever attempted, they pulled her from the cliff face, just in time. The ropes had frozen, her legs barely moved. She was alive. Barely. Fay Manners survived, but not without scars, severe frostbite, nerve damage, months of recovery. But the deeper wounds weren't physical. The cold stays with you. The stillness, the hours spent talking yourself out of panic, the knowledge that no matter how strong or experienced you are, one knot, one weather shift, one mistake, and you're gone. Fay didn't call herself a hero. She didn't claim victory. What she carried down from that mountain wasn't triumph, it was truth. The Himalayas don't forgive. They don't forget. They are older than memory and colder than death. And for 2 nights in 2023, they held Fay Manners captive. Not with chains, but with ice and silence. And still she endured. Not because she was fearless, but because she refused to let the mountain decide how her story ended. I hope you must be found this video very informative. Don't forget to appreciate us. Hit the like button and subscribe channel for more interesting informative videos.